Hello everyone, it's Jessica. I'm back with another layout for the Bramble Fox design team. Today I'm using the January Fox Box Plus, and I'm using this beautiful paper snips today along with some of the acrylics. So I'm pulling out some Vicki Boutin Discover and Create collection along with a border punch by Martha Stewart, and I'm just doing a couple border strips for the left and right sides. So this one actually inspired my whole entire layout. So I absolutely loved how this one came together so quickly based on me pulling out this border punch. So I was actually going to do something different on the sides, and actually it was going to be a vertical or a horizontal layout rather than a vertical layout. But I was pulling out another border punch that I was going to use, and I saw this one in there that looks like paint drips, so I decided to use that and make this a vertical design. So I've just ran a couple strips down the sides of my paper. I've got 4 photos here, which I'm going to pull out my nested circle dies, and I'm going to cut down all of my photos into circles, trying to save as much of the photos as I can because they were painting and I wanted to show what they were actually painting, but some of them I just wanted to show their little hands. And my son there, Otto, had paint up his entire arm. He painted his arms black. So yeah, I guess they didn't understand to stay on the paper that day, but you know what, that's okay because they were having a blast and they were actually being pretty clean about it as far as not getting it anywhere else besides their bodies and their papers or their projects. So it was actually working out pretty well. But if you know me, you know that I don't normally allow my kids to paint inside the house. So this was a big deal for them and they were super excited. So I'm pulling out one of the stencils, and this is one of the ones from Bramble Fox. I'll have to get the number because I can't remember offhand what the number of the stencil is, but I'll post it below for you. And then I'm pulling out some Distress Oxide in Uncharted Mariner, and I'm just using a blending brush just to blend this on. I'm only using half of the stencil, and then I'm going to flip it and put the other half on the bottom portion of this layout. So it kind of looks like little sunbursts popping out of the layout. I've got some Vicki Boutin supplies here that I've layered from the Discover and Create collection. And here I'm just placing that stencil back down on the bottom, and I am just holding that down with my hand on one side and then some pixie tape by Thermoweb on the other side. So there's my stenciling. That part's all done. I'm just layering all of these beautiful embellishments from this Discover and Create collection along with my photos, just staggering my photos down the page. And then I'm going to pull in some acrylics. I'll pull in some stars on this one just from my my bin here of stars. And then I've used that beautiful Create one on the center focus point of my layout. That's going to be my title piece. Then I'm just pulling up my fringe scissors to create another little border strip to pop in behind this ruler. I really thought it needed just another little layer in behind there. So I went ahead and cut a little border piece out of some fringe scissors and just put that in behind there. I'm going to go ahead and start sticking everything down. I think this is pretty much the placement of where I want everything. I just need to add a little bit more to it to make it feel like mine. So I have a few embellishments here yet that I'm playing around with. I've got this little acrylic from the Fox box that I wasn't quite sure where I wanted it to go, and then I did settle on the bottom there because I really liked it. I think it says all the little things or the little things. I think it says the little things. I can't see it because it's really, really small on my screen whenever I edit, but I think that's what it says. I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of fussy cutting. I'm going to cut a couple of these stars out from these paper snips from the Fox Box Plus. And I am just cutting these ones out with my scissors, but the other ones I used on my previous layout from this month, and I did use the coordinating die to cut out the rest of them from the shop. So I'll link that die below unless you want to grab that because it is super, super handy whenever it comes to the paper snips because you can cut that whole bottom piece in one shot with that die and it just makes it so quick. So I'm just staggering a couple of these paper snips in along with all my other embellishments here. I really like some of these wordy bits. I'm going to place those on as well. You guys know that I love to put little wordy phrases on my layouts and kind of stagger those. So I'm going to do the same thing here with this layout too. And I'm also going to pull out some Distress Oxide and some black soot. I'm going to add some splatters here in a moment, just after I get all my embellishments placed down here. So I'm just starting to stick everything down. I like to use my ATG gun. That's usually my go-to adhesive. It's pretty fast and it's easy for me to reload. I like to use that most of the time, or my tape runner from Thermoweb. I use that one sometimes too. Kind of whatever's here on my desk. And actually, I think I see my Thermoweb one is like laying right in front of me in the frame, but I don't use that one for this layout for some reason. So I love this really big flower. Usually I have trouble using Vicki's embellishments because they're so large, but I feel like these ones are a little bit scaled down from what they normally are, so I'm finding it a lot easier to use them on this layout. So I'm just placing everything down and seeing where I want everything to go. My photos, as you saw, I have my dates on the back of my photos because that's how I store my photos that I need to scrap. I store them inside my photo albums by date order. I do have a video that mentions how I do that, along with a flip through of one of my albums, so I can link that below if you're interested in watching that and how I store my photos that need to be scrapped. There's my black splatters that I added on just with some black soot distress oxide. Then I'm going to go ahead and stick down my little wordy bits, and then I'll start adding my acrylics. I like to use Nuvo Deluxe adhesive for gluing down all of my acrylic pieces because it does dry clear in behind it, and I have books from quite a while ago that I've used that glue and it seems to hold up really well over time. So that's my preferred glue for the acrylics. And usually any little pieces, like little embellishments, I think I use it on those stars. And then sometimes I use it on other embellishments too, just to stick everything down. But otherwise, if it's a bigger embellishment, I usually just use my tape runner because it's quick. But I'm just finishing up, just sticking everything down to this layout, and I'm going to grab some acrylic stars just to place on this layout as well. Make sure you peel the backings off of your acrylic pieces. That way they will stick well to your layout because they don't really like to stick if you don't peel that backing off. So make sure you remember to peel that off. So here's my beautiful little create piece. I think this is probably one of my absolute favorite pieces from Bramble Fox that I've ever had. I really, really love that little paint roller that says create. I just think that's so clever and it's just beautiful. I love the color. That's like one of my favorite colors, so I just love that. So here's some little stars. You can grab these in the box of stars from the shop. I'm just going to scatter a few of them on my layout, nothing too crazy. I'm just adding a couple just for like little pops of color basically. The sides are so colorful. I tried to bring in as much color to the middle as I possibly could. So here I'm just pulling out a stamp set from the shop as well. This is just some paint splatters. I'm just going to add a few of them to my layout just using some black archival ink. I wanted them to be super crisp. That's why I didn't use Distress Oxide. So my archival ink creates a really crisp stamp. So I'm just pulling out some stars that I stamped there as well from, where's that from? Pretty Pink Posh. And then I pulled out one of the little labels from Vicki Boutin's collection, and I'm just stamping my date right on that, and I'm going to add that to the side of my layout. And then I'm just going to pull out my sewing machine, and I'm going to do some machine stitching down both of these sides. So I'm just seeing what else I can add. I'm just going to add a few buttons yet, and then I think that's the last thing I add here. So just sticking those down with my Nuvo glue pretty quick here. And then sticking down all these little stars. And then I'll pull out that sewing machine. I like to use my brother's sewing machine. It's nothing crazy. I use it for paper and for fabric, but I do swap out my needle whenever I'm sewing on paper because it will dull your needle down. So I just use my brother's sewing machine and I just do my machine stitching, and it works great for me. Here's my little Pretty Pink Posh stamp set that I mentioned earlier that I'm just using some little stars. I'm just going to stamp that with my black archival ink as well. And I'm just going to stagger those across my layout here, just in a few little places, just to enhance. I don't want to add too much more because I have so much on here already, and I want that focus to be on my photos. So here's my stitching and here's the finished layout. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. I'll link everything below so you can grab it from the shop if you're interested. And thank you guys for being here. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.